Hello. It's January 17th. It's Friday. TGIF. How about that? Thank goodness it's Friday. And then, of course, Monday is Martin Luther King Day, a national holiday, and also the inauguration of President Donald J. Trump. He was president 4 years ago and 8 years ago and everything in between. And then President Biden, with his calm manner and his unity speeches, got him elected with his 50 years in service. And then 6 months before November 5th of this year, the Republicans had their campaign, the Democrats had their campaign, including the substitution of Kamala Harris, and just popped Biden out of contention, just pulled him out by the back of his neck. Saturday evening, he was saying how he was going to win the election. And then Sunday morning, he writes a letter saying, I'm getting out of the race and Kamala is going to be our Democratic candidate to face off against Donald J. Trump. Although she won 0 delegates, she did not travel the country state by state and win primaries. She won nothing except Joe Biden putting her in as vice president because she's part black and part Indian and part this and part that. She's a woman, all the boxes are checked. So we put her in there to help him win the presidency, which he did. But all those unity speeches, moved over to the far left as he was dragged far left because of all his support. These little groups here and there, it's yanked him so far left, and his, spending. Yeah, let's do this and let's do that, and checking off more boxes of campaign promises. And so that set the Democratic Party up and the president for the causation of an inflationary trend that went up as high as 9.4%, something like that. And so inflation is 1.4% under the Trump presidency. And then with Biden's tax and spend policies, inflation moved up to over 9%. So, these percentages, per quarter, as they calculate them, actually they publish numbers every month. They're cumulative. I can tell you things in the Publix grocery store down here in South Florida are twice what they were 4 years ago. Except for some popular items that bring customers into the store, what the retail industry calls lost leaders. Like chicken. Rotisserie chicken. $5 for 4 or 5 pound rotisserie chicken. Boy, I love rotisserie chicken. And Costco, you can still get, a nice big plump 6 pound rotisserie chicken for $5. $4.95. Well, Publix had the same chicken. Costco's was 1 pound or a half a pound heavier. So Publix is around 5 pounds. Maybe Costco's was 6 pounds. We don't shop that much at Costco. When we had 2 kids in the house, they're fully grown, 30 years old or more, and they have their own apartment, and they have their own grocery bills and so forth. So I shop pretty much with Instacart. Where you go online and you decide what you want from any one of 20 or 30 participating stores in the Instacart array of possible retailers that you can order from and get delivery. And this whole COVID thing, you catch illnesses, and COVID is quite an answer. Instead of walking around through the store and potentially picking up germs from other people, when you get you get to be 103 years old, you don't want germs. So I use Instacart all the time. Yep. I can show you right now. So I don't see an icon for Instacart. Looks like a carrot. Oh, there it is. Instacart. There you go. And it should be where I've already logged in. Oh yeah, my last order was 5 stars. Yeah. Skip. Skip. Yeah. So there you go. Publix. It's a big P right there. Boing. And we'll X out that little doodad and buy it again. So here is a complete listing of, buy it again things. So let's try 4 of those. get one of those. One of those. There I go. So now we just look through. Buy one, get one free. Oh, let's try. 6 liters. Okay. Oops, I need to add one. There you go. Buy one, get one. So you have to, darn it. I don't want 3 of those. I want 2 of those, yeah. See, so you can go through. Look at that butter. Ugh. $8.19. 4 years ago, that was $4. $4.25. Something like that. We need one of those. So, yeah, you go through here and you pick what you want, pick what you need. Probably need 2 of those. There we go, we'll get one of those paper towels. And we'll get one of these toilet paper doodads, yeah. I'm sure we need that. I just made spaghetti sauce, so this will lusty tomatoes. If you're watching, let me push on that. That is, you know, when you're making tomato sauce, you want the best tomatoes. Because it's a tomato sauce, dummy. You don't want to get those cheap tomatoes because it's a tomato sauce. You want your sauce to be really terrific. You get the best there is. And the Alessi whole peeled Italian plum tomatoes, that's the one to get. Yep. So I've got 8 or 9 containers of a really terrific sauce that I made 2 days ago. So Daniel's coming over Sunday for our routine watch, you know, the 4th day of the golf tournament. That is, I don't know where they're golfing this week. They start on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 4 days of golf. We don't watch 4 days of golf. We watch the last half of the 4th day. Yeah. Oops, I need one of these slide gravel for our cat super duper pooper robotic robo poop, I call it. It's an unbelievable machine. It has a 15-inch circular supply of fresh shavings of rock. Has a little dust on it and so forth. So when the cat buries its business, let me hit the box for you in case you have a cat. They call it clump and seal. So that way, this thing rotates. This robotic indoor litter business. So after 3 minutes, after the cat does its business, then the thing automatically rotates, and it goes through a screen so that the litter goes through the screen. But the cat's business, which is now coated with this litter, there we go. So you can see what it looks like. So it's a perfect ingredient to add to this rotating cat litter disposal. So instead of scooping the litter like in the pail like that, and then you scoop it out with a strainer scoop, this rotating robotics cleaner does that, and it puts it in a drawer underneath, so you don't have to scoop. It does it automatically 3 minutes after the cat does its business. Yeah. Buy one, get one free? Absolutely. Particularly olive oil. So you get 32 ounces. It's at 17 ounces. So you get 34 ounces of olive oil for $17. That's roughly 50 cents an ounce. That's what you... So I buy oil when it's buy one, get one. BOGO. Yeah. Yeah, see these Ricola 317? That used to be $1.80. Yeah. I'll get one of these Sargento string cheese. Yeah, I love string cheese. I have buy one, get one. No, buy two, get one. No. Then I'd have 3 of them. I got no place to put 3 of those. Let's buy a couple of fettuccinis. Oh no, I don't want fettuccine. I want linguine. I like that brand though. So let's keep going up. I have enough mushrooms. Yeah, this $2.95 mushrooms. It was $1.80. So this was 9 something and now it's 11 something. So that didn't double in price. But almost everything else has. Siri Bob. We'll see you. I don't want it. Those are little corkscrew pasta. See that? There you go. I think I have 2 boxes of that. So in our room where the washer and dryer are, clothes washer and dryer, I piled up some boxes, empty boxes, and I stick soups and gravies and you know, pasta. Yeah. Ooh, I need oatmeal raisin cookies. Where are they? So you see, I'm going through. I'm doing my shopping. I don't have to complete it here. But I just wanted to show it to you. Parmesan? Yeah, Marilyn wants some of that. To sprinkle on the pasta. The sauce turned out, the tomato sauce turned out beautifully. Oh my God. It's so good. Whew. Mix that up with some spaghetti, with some There's chocolate chip cookies. No. I want oatmeal raisin. I have three oatmeal raisin cookies, basically for breakfast. That's my breakfast. Yeah, so it's oatmeal raisin. So sounds healthy. You got oatmeal and you got raisins and you got, flour and sugar and all those other things that people of my age should not be, dealing with. See these oils? $29 for 32 ounces. I just, with the buy one get one, I just got the same quantity for $18. Yeah, with the buy one get one. So you can see, these are all the things over time. Everything that's on here, we've purchased for laundry detergent. I don't think we need more of that. So this way, instead of having to search through the entire inventory of the whole store, I just searched through everything I already purchased at one time. So, you don't have to look at everything. Now, if you want something, it's going to start raining in 25 minutes. Let's see, I can ask oatmeal, raisin. Oatmeal raisin cookie. There we go. Did I add it yet to my no. Looking for my oatmeal. Oh, there it is. That's chocolate chip. Come on. Oatmeal raisin. Such a pain in the butt. Assorted. Maybe they don't have any made up for today. There's chocolate chip. I don't want that. Chocolate chip. Now, I've searched for it now 3 times. And assorted green wise chocolate chip. butter. Can you believe it? It's the hardest thing to find, right? Macadamia nut cookies? No. The bakery at Publix Bakery is really quite nice. But for some reason or other, we do not want to find oatmeal raisin cookies. Oh boy. Alright. I guess I'll have to get these. Because, see, there's vegan. They taste terrible. They leave out, I guess they leave out the butter, or I don't know what. There's bacon chocolate chip. Alright, so you get the picture. So I'll finish up that shopping later, but I just want you to know that that Instacart is a marvelous way of doing your shopping, particularly if you got we stick strictly to steamed distilled water. We have plenty of vitamins and minerals that we take with our supplements, and the city water is terrible. I've looked. That's the problem when you're trained as a biochemist. You know how to read those reports, and annually and maybe quarterly, the public utility that creates the drinking water that's in your faucet, your tap water, they have to give you an analysis of that tap water, showing, the amount of particulate matter, the quantities of heavy metals that are dissolved in this water, and other toxins. I don't call them toxins. So if you look at the report, it's terrible. The city says, it's of the best. Well, it may be of the best, with everybody else that's processing water. But from an analytic standpoint, and unfortunately I read those reports, it's right on the edge of not qualifying as safe and sound drinking water. It's right on the edge. 1/10 to 1%, or 1/100th to 1% more in certain categories. And you've got water that doesn't qualify as being suitable, for distribution to your city dwellers. So I get steam distilled water. In our other house, I actually had a commercial still that was automatic on the receiving container, which held like 5 gallons of distilled water. And then you had the boiling tank over on the other side. So it would automatically start distilling, and there was a float lever in the receiving container. So the boiling tank would boil water, and then the water goes over stainless steel tubing to an area where it has the fins on it, and then a fan circulates and blows to chill the steam, and you have water dripping into the receptacle on the left side of this device. And it ran, 24/7. Now, it wasn't boiling water all the time, because if the receiving container, if that float was up to a certain level, they would stop distilling, because there's, in theory, plenty of distilled water in the receptacle, associated with this distiller. And then it had it had a pump which you could connect a hose to, a polyethylene hose. And I ran that hose up into the ceiling and through the attic over, and then fed the line through the walls to go underneath where the sink was. And I had a little device so you push the lever down. It was like a demand situation. So you push down this lever, and then the pump would pump fresh distilled water right over into the kitchen. So I didn't have to go over into the garage where the distiller was. Nice arrangement. Pain in the neck to yeah, because the sink, had an open window to the living room, dining room area. So I had to feed it through a wall that was over, I think, to the right side, of the sink. Run it down that wall, and then feed it through a hole that was drilled in the bottom of the cabinetry that held the sink and so forth. And then ran that pipe right up into that small faucet that was, I had it connected. It was a nice stainless steel thing I bought at Home Depot. And screwed it right into the, there was a hole already bored into the stainless steel sink, and it had like the size of a quarter with some springy things on it, which covered the hole. So from underneath, you'd pop that off, and you had a pre-drilled, fresh opening from which to attach this auxiliary water. It was probably designed for, like a pump for soap dispenser. So instead of a soap dispenser, we had a distilled water dispenser. Yeah, and you push this little lever down, and that would open up the pathway for the distilled water to flow through this tube, stainless steel tube. That was probably 7 inches high, 8 inches high. And you'd put your gallon jug or whatever underneath that and fill it up. It was probably quart containers. And we had ice maker, external ice makers, so that we'd make countertop ice makers. So we'd make ice cubes out of distilled water also. So we not only drank the distilled water, we had distilled water ice cubes. And they're like beautiful, clear, crystal clear ice cubes. Yeah. So, at one time I did have the demand pump connected to the distilling machine that cost me $1,200 or something like that. Yeah, it was big. It weighed 200 pounds. All stainless steel construction. From Aqua something. Yeah. You can Google it. Stainless steel kitchen still. They have countertop And this other one that I had, was on 4 wheels. And we had it, we uncrated it and put it in the garage. Right next to a coin vault. I had a friend of mine that was in the vault business. And he just installed a new vault in one of the banks that we owned, one of the branches. So I said, hey, you ever come across a coin vault at one of these new big banks? They don't want it because they have their own vault system. He says, yeah, I got 2 of them right now. I said, hey, you want to deliver them over to my house? I'll take them off. He said, yeah, just pay for it costs $60 to deliver them to your place. But I'll give you the vaults. I'll get rid of them. No one wants them. Except for you. And they were 1 inch thick tool steel. The kind of steel you can't drill into. And all welded, 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot, with a big door in the front with a combination lock in the middle, where you had it was like a 5 combo thing, and you could create the combination of your choice. There's a little lever behind the combo thing on the inside of the door, and you push that lever, and then you dial in the 5 combinations you want to use. It was like 0 to 90, so you had 100 different positions in the dial, as I remember. Yep. So, yeah, people use their birth dates and all this stuff. Not a good idea, because the bad guys know that 90% of the time, the people put the birthdays of their oldest child or youngest child, or both the youngest and the oldest. So, to come up with the 5 digits, somewhere between 0 and 99, right? So, I forget what the combination was. But when we sold the house, I left the vaults in the garage open, and I wrote the combination on a Post-it note and put it inside the vault and on the front of the door. Both vaults used the same combination. I had 2 of them. I stacked them on top of each other, and they were 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. They had to weigh 1,200 pounds each. So you couldn't, 2 human beings, unless they're capable of, it's 1,200 pound vault. And you have 1 inch thick steel all the way around. That's 6 pieces of steel, 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch, 1 inch thick. And yeah, that was. So we live in a multi-family condominium building, so to speak. And I have a couple of little steel vaults in my bookcase, screwed into the bookcase. So they'll have to take the whole damn bookcase if they want to take the vault. Or if they have a sledgehammer, I guess they could beat it apart. But boy, that would be quite a mess. Anyway. So we have confirmation hearings going on. there's, I think, 3 or 4 of them going on simultaneously. You know, they run like from 10 until 2, 4 hours, including sometimes they have a break. There's a new attraction in Orlando, and I can't tell what this is. Orlando is set to welcome more than 25 experiences for 2025, including its first new theme park in over 25 years. I read through this article. If they never mentioned what the name of the stupid thing is. I'll have to Google it. New theme park in Orlando. Anyway, this is the article all about it, except they didn't call it anything. Oh boy. TikTok is set to shut down at midnight, Sunday midnight, I think, unless TikTok agrees to sell it to an American organization. You know, Sans, the little applet that would transmit information to China. Yeah, we don't want that. So the question is the Supreme Court going to step in and deal with this TikTok issue? SEC sues Elon Musk for allegedly failing to disclose the Twitter acquisition on time. They made the disclosures, but they were late. And it's fairly common, you know, for regular wealthy folks when they buy, you know, publicly traded shares, and let's say the price is low, and it's the early years of before the stock was $10 a share. Let's say it was 10 cents a share. So you buy up a whole bunch of it because it's cheap, and it turns out to be 5% of the company's outstanding stock. Well, there's a regulatory filing you have to make. You know, it's a form that you have to fill out. It's a simple form. It's just a disclosure telling the world that you have 5.1% ownership in this publicly traded company. And you have to do it within, you know, like 35 days of when you buy it. Something like that. Maybe 45 days. Well, and when you get 10%, you got to do the same thing. And if you go over 10%, you have to declare that you either are or are not seeking control of the company. In the world of SEC, control means 25%. If you own 25% of a publicly traded stock, in the eyes of the SEC, that's a controlling interest. Most regular folks think of controlling interest is 51% ownership. So that way you can outvote all other shareholders. But see, in the world of the SEC and Congress, who has empowered the SEC to use these laws, 25% is the threshold in which you previously disclosed that you're seeking control, and once you get over 25%, you have effective control. That's what they call it, effective control. Well, apparently, as Elon Musk was dealing with buying up the shares of Tesla stock from a list of large shareholders that he obtained somehow. And at a certain point, he went over the 5% ownership threshold. And one of the lawyers that he has looked at this investment and says, "Oh boy, you should have filed, this form when you." So he made the filing, but it was late. It may have already had, effective control. He may have already had 25% ownership. When he disclosed that, he probably disclosed the 5 and the 10% thresholds, at the same time. So in effect, those other 2 filings were late. And they can fine you. They can be a total pain in your butt. And of course, you got to hire a Washington lawyer. That costs, $1,000 an hour. While this lawyer, fills out the appropriate form saying that we're seeking control of the company. And he got control of the company. And he ended up with absolute control. And he decided to buy up all the shares he could. So that's a picture of him giving a speech somewhere. Just to show you what he looks like. Wish we remember that. Yep. So now he has to have a lawyer to defend this lawsuit. And if you have smart counsel, he'll also determine in some form of a negotiation on how much a penalty he will be fined, if any, because he filed this late. Even though the whole world knew he was seeking control of Twitter, which then he renamed it X, the letter X, which,
It's 10:15.
makes no sense, but I guess when you have a kid named Y and another one named Z, you got XYZ. Yeah. Anyway, there's going to be a lot of action with cyber currency, which is a currency that you can use online to buy things and to pay for things that you don't want the public to know that you're looking at these, channels that for some people might be distasteful. So apparently the Texas Attorney General, Kenneth Paxton, has announced yesterday he is opening an investigation into the World Federation of Advertisers, aka WFA, those three letters, is a way to refer to the World Federation of Advertisers, to determine whether the trade group's members conspired to boycott certain media platforms, social media platforms. While this press release, the press release, this article is not a press release, while the press release doesn't name the social media platforms, but one of them is likely going to be Elon Musk's X, Twitter, which filed an antitrust lawsuit against the WFA in August and alleged that advertisers orchestrated a systematic illegal boycott of my platform. He calls it my platform because he owns absolute control. Effective control is a term that the SEC uses when you're buying 25% or more of a company's outstanding shares. If you got 25%, you have effective control. If you have 51% of the outstanding shares, that's absolute control. Yeah. Well, that's what Elon Musk eventually did with the Twitter stock. But anyway, in August, a whole bunch of advertisers in August systematically performed an illegal boycott of these advertisers. Yeah, there we go. So that is usually punishable also by a fine, and people pay up the fine and they move on to do that to someone else. So you got to do all these things fairly and properly, and have to sit through multiple meetings. It's amusing what you have to go through with the SEC. Now here's either a former homeowner of this. You can see the man standing behind her, walking through the rubble, has a big glove on his hand, where she doesn't have a glove on her hands, but she's picking up items, the few remaining things that are visible. Recently, last night or the night before, Biden pardons nearly 2,500 2,500 nonviolent drug offenders. That have been prosecuted, in courts all over the country, and he has issued pardons for 2,500 nonviolent offenders. That makes him the president that has granted more pardons than any other president in American history. They might give, a typical president would give up, 20 pardons, 30 pardons, 50 pardons. They usually save them for the last moments of their presidency, which Biden is in his last moments of being president. Yeah. iOS 19. That's a typical little logo thing that you've been looking at over this year, although it's 18. And it keeps edging up. 18.1, 18.2. I just installed well, I'll show you. There we go. I hit the settings, icon. Looks like that up there. And then I'm going to hit the About item, which is in the middle of your screen. So it's an iPad, so I just touch it. It's not like a mousy thing. You use your finger. iPad iOS version 18.3. I'll touch on that. So the specific version of 18.3 is 22D 5055B. How about that for that's not a hexadecimal thing. That's a name that the software engineer, the software engineering team at Apple decided that this is the specific version of iPad OS 18.3. Yep. I'll press the About thing on top here. It takes us back of screen, and you can see this is a 12.9 inch iPad Pro 5th generation. This iPad name, model name, that's generated by Apple. I can't edit that name. There's no way, and you can see the model number, which is MHP 23LL/A. And then you can see the serial number, a bunch of letters. I have AppleCare Plus. I touch on that. Accidental damage, hardware faults, express replacement, and I think AppleCare Plus means you're covered even if they steal it. If someone were to steal your iPad, or if you lost it, you open up this app called Apple Support, touch open, And it's got a bunch of there's all our devices. See, here's iPad mini. Here's my watch. iPods. So you can see this iPad up on the top. So I'm going to touch this carrot right there. Battery, all these different problems. Choosing a shoe. Tell them about it. Anyway, that's what you can go along and look up your stuff this way too. Here's the 13-inch iPad Pro. Let's see what I got on that. See, Apple Care Plus. I can. There we go. The model name, the version, the serial number, coverage information. So, accidental damage, hardware service, express replacement, water damage. There's the agreement number. Yep. Yeah. So I have Apple Care on all our Apple devices. Yeah. In case something goes wrong with it. There you go. We're back to that screen. I go back to this screen. There we go. You can see the cellular data line number. See, embedded in the iPad is a chipset so that it can, go online and go into the internet just by dialing through this number. Just like you would do to access the internet. It's a cellular connectivity of your iPad in case you're in an area where there isn't, a network. So you go into the cellular network and get to the internet. That chipset increases the price of the iPad about $130, and that's been the rate for years. If an iPad costs you $900, the way you have it specified for the amount of memory you want and all that, memory storage. If you add cellular to the specifications of the iPad that you want to buy, it'll be $130 more expensive than if you just had the iPad, with your advanced memory or whatever. Yeah. let's see, it's 10:30. I can press the Tesla icon. Where is it? Well, according to the information that is abstracted from the car's computer, it's got 228 miles of range in the fuel tank, which is a big battery. It's parked, locked and parked. The cameras are activated or active, so you can look in 4 different directions. So we'll look at the front-facing camera. So that's what you see. You see a wet driveway and 3 other cars parked in the parking lot in front of her. I can honk the horn, I can flash the lights. You can make it fart. I've never done that. I should do that one time and just see what it sounds like. Elon Musk is a little kid. Every car is arranged so that it can fart. Oh boy. And if people, like access your car or looking in the window, whatever, recent clips. Can we do that? Yeah, look at that. It's connecting to the vehicle. Oh, look at this. At 8:43 a.m., I noticed this guy parking next to Marilyn, this lady, and then she's now walking to get into the office building where Marilyn is presently. So you see this little dot that's moving across the screen. I can grab that and slide it around and the white bar is a time bar. And that red barrier right there is telling you that that's where they actually notice somebody. See the lady coming out, and she never touched our car. She just walked by it. Anyway, you can see all these events. So if someone actually hacked into your car, broke a window and so forth, you'd see it on the cameras. There's a camera on the inside of the car also. So you'd see the guy trying to figure out how to open up the glove box and, play with the car. We have the glove box password protected. There's no button to push to open up the glove box. You would push a button on the steering wheel and say, "Open the glove box," and then the Tesla computer would then open the glove box, but it would put up the password screen. So you have to put the correct password before it would actually open the glove box. And then you type in the 4-digit code and the glove box would open up. And when you're done with the things in the glove box, you just close it. But there's no button to open it. You have to tell it to open it using a voice command. You can find a button to push in the settings screen somewhere buried in a menu. But usually, people, that are breaking into your car, they don't know all these settings from all the different cars they in theory could break into. But a Tesla car is not a good one to break into because there's video evidence of who you are. because you have the dash cam camera and you have all the Sentry cameras, and it shows you, poking around the car. There's someone parking on the other side of it. Yep. I'm gonna grab that. Let it go. There you go. This lady just got a bag out of the back seat of the car. Yep. So those are the two cars parked next to her. One on each side, of course. So the car is always watching after itself. You can touch this button here, and there's where it's located. It's located in the second parking space. She usually parks over here, but she was a little late today, getting there at like 8:30. So someone parked there. She parked, next to her, next to them, him, her. Looks like they had purses, so there were ladies parked on either side of her. Some of them, one of them may have been a co-worker at at Seacoast Bank. Yeah. I got Southeast Bank on my mind for some reason. Yeah. We can look at the charge statistics. In the last 31 days, we put in 339 kilowatt hours of energy in the fuel tank. It cost us $40, which is cheap. And why? Because we have a home plug. It's the building's plug. Actually, it's a friend of mine owns the plug, but the building is delivering the electricity, and they're not charging us for it. But it's saving us about $100 a month, 110 over what we would have paid if we were buying gasoline to get the range that we're talking about. Yeah. So I can dial up here for roadside assistance. Feel like I got a flat tire. You press this button. We don't want to do that. Yeah, we don't want to ask for service. We don't have a flat tire. Let me hit the service thing again. Yeah, good. Nothing's happening. So you can call for service. You can call for roadside assistance, which we don't need any. For financing, you can look into the lease. You can actually read a copy of the lease on your screen or here on our iPad. You see down below here, 5,501 miles. That's the odometer reading for the Tesla. And you can see the software that's in there. It's version 13, B13 is the full self-driving supervised software module. Yeah, so that's pretty wild. Now on my iPhone, I have that app. They don't want you to close the app. They want you to, they want you to shrink it down, keep it running in the background at all times. Now this is an iPad. So I don't need to keep it running at all times on the iPad. I have it running on the iPhone. That's over here, keeping track of the hour and 16 minutes I've been on the air. Yeah, the inaugural committee is getting everything set. They probably have 16 or 20 inaugural ball locations. They're quite nice. You walk around and talk to people. You can go on the dance floor and dance. Let me have a sip of tea here. In my Halloween mug. Someone gave that as a gift to Marilyn. We got a lot of these 20-ounce containers. Marilyn has one that she usually fills up with ice and tea, iced tea. I drink hot tea with half and half and sugar. A tablespoon of sugar and about 2 ounces of half and half. 4% milk fat milk. Cow milk. You got so many kinds of milk out there nowadays. And some people say they're allergic to milk. So they get other kind of milk. Almond milk. I don't like those. I was brought up as a kid with drinking milk. Out of quart or gallon containers. And the milk fat level was 4%, then it dropped to 3%. So right now when you buy milk, what they call whole milk from cows, pasteurized milk, is 3% milk fat. If you're on a diet or you want the milk but you don't want the milk fat, you can get 2% milk. And you can also get 1% milk. So there's a variety of different levels of milk fat. 4% milk fat is commonly called half and half, like half cream, half milk, 4%. The whipping, the milk that you can get for creating whipped cream, that's 8% milk fat milk. It has a real heavy pour to it. It has a higher viscosity. To give you an example, honey at room temperature has a higher viscosity than water does. A degree of thickness. If you have an open container, of honey, and you move a 5-inch stem, back and forth through it, you can feel the thickness. Whereas if you had that 5-inch spoon and you're doing it in a vat of water, it's easy to go left and right in a vat of water with a spoon. But if that vat was filled with honey, then it would be a little more difficult to move the spoon back and forth. You'd feel a resistance because the liquid itself has a high viscosity. That's what they call high viscosity. A low viscosity fluid is like water, alcohol. Whipping cream, which is 8% milk fat milk, it has a higher viscosity than 3% milk and 1% milk. So viscosity deals with how thick it is, what resistance it provides, in the physical world. Like if you wanted to pump honey through a pipe, just making up a story, the pump would, the impeller on that pump, would have to be specially designed for a high viscosity fluid, as opposed to having a pump's impeller deal with water, which is a low viscosity fluid. The impeller would work, the standard impeller would work just fine. But as you go up the scale to higher viscosity fluids, you may have to adjust the type and engineering of the pump itself in order to push honey through some sort of a pipe or a pipe dispenser, for example. Yeah. It's 10:48 a.m. I've been yakking here for an hour and 23 minutes. I started my Instacart order, as you can see. My photos of the day. Let's see, I got up to iOS 19. I just loaded 18.3 in our iOS devices. Keep up with we're beta testers, so we keep testing all our devices to see how they run with the various software updates issued by Apple. But Apple just came up with iOS 18.3, which is a beta release. This is not released to the 2 billion. That's with a boy. Billion. B with a boy. Billion. Can you imagine? They have almost 2 billion iOS devices all over the world. So when they release a software update, it goes out to literally 150 countries all over the world. Yep. So I've updated. There was also an update for my MacBook Pro, which is a computer, a Mac computer. It's a laptop Mac computer, which is hosting this Simulcast over three social networks simultaneously, onto Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter. And look at that, it says W up there. What the heck? I changed that 3 times. Oh, you god darn. Why that keeps showing that W when it's maybe there's several places where Twitter is mentioned. I don't think so. Anyway, this is a Simulcast along 3 social networks, where if you wanted to go back and replay something that I've said today on this broadcast, you could go back to any one of these 3 social networks and find the broadcast that occurred at about 9:20. I think I started. I was a little late starting. Marilyn left a little late today, and I get reading a couple of articles, and it always puts me a little late. And I had some issues with the connection to the internet this morning, but I resolved those issues, and here we are. And in those social networks will be these broadcasts that I do almost every day. Look at this. Here's the 6-day temperature outlook for the United States. And you can see it's seriously below normal from Dallas all the way to New York. You can see this deep purple, and then these, this might be 20 or 30 degrees below normal. Let's say 30, 20, 10, and the final one is normal. The light blue. They don't have actually a scale. They're just showing the temperature gradients, projected by the National Weather Services. They produce the data and the graphics for the different flow of the air currents, the upper air currents, that pretty much control the temperature of the country. The deep south is getting ice and snow conditions. This is ice and snow when you have that deep purple, and it's below the 25 degrees you need for snow. This is probably 20 degrees Fahrenheit. This is so far below normal. Look at this. India is staring at an oil shock as the U.S. renews the sanctions on India buying Russian crude oil. And there is Russia's President Vladimir Putin speaks with India's Prime Minister during a visit to the shipyard Jeddah. Jeddah. However you pronounce this word, Zvezda, Zvezda. I didn't even try to use the Prime Minister's name. Narendra Modi. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, there. And there's Igor, the Russian oil giant chief, Igor Sechin. Anyway, the 3 of them are talking. This is September 2019. these three people are chatting ahead of the start of the Eastern Economic Forum hosted by Russia. Yeah. This guy actually has glasses on. You can see the rim and the thing going back to the earpiece. When I first looked at the picture, you couldn't even tell that he had glasses on. Anyway, there are all kinds of different organizations and governments that are getting ready for the President Trump, operation of the government, which is a whole lot different than the operation of the government under President Biden. And who knows, who in the government was pulling the strings for Biden, because he seems so demented that he's really not operating the government day to day. He may be, giving a point of view, once or twice a day, which then other teams of people in the White House actually are operating the government. And when Trump is off at the beach, the government operates by operators that they have behind the scenes, in a government sort of way. That's how someone would do that. They would go after the people that are in the White House. So I'm seeing Kristi Noem browbeating. All right. In Pennsylvania. Anyway, up here in this delayed screen is the proceedings of the U.S. senators questioning DHS nominee Kristi Noem, the former governor of South Dakota. And I guess she resigns when she gets confirmed by the United States Senate, according to our Constitution. Excuse me. According to the U.S. Constitution, the United States Senate, you have to have a majority of the U.S. senators agree to confirm, members of Trump's cabinet, the 16 different government agencies, lawyers, that basically operate the government day to day. And every week, every month, every quarter, all of the above, these select people that are confirmed by the Senate It used to take a supermajority, a 60% vote to nominate someone, to confirm a nomination of a new president-elect. But Harry Reid changed the rule to a simple majority. You need 51 senators to confirm a cabinet member before they can sit in the seat of that portion of the U.S. government. So Harry Reid made it a majority vote instead of a supermajority of so when you have 53 senators, it's a little easier to get confirmations through, because you only need 51 votes. And since we have 53, you can lose 2 and still have your 51 senators required. John Fetterman, you remember, he was elected to the U.S. Senate 2 years ago, I believe, and he had a stroke. Just before that, when he was campaigning, he had a stroke, and it affected his comprehension, his eyes, and reading things, and speaking, answering people's engaging in a conversation, with the media or whoever is talking to him. Unfortunately, over the period, those conditions changed, so that now, when you speak to John Fetterman, he can speak back to you, with a comprehensive, dialogue, unimpaired, or mostly unimpaired. You can still see a little tinge of maybe impairment because of the way he speaks, the way he constructs a sentence is a little different than he might have constructed a sentence before his stroke. But all that, and he beat Dr. Oz, which is, he's a pretty smart cookie. And then, in the Democratic state, he won. And Fetterman has, split away from his party regarding some policy matters. And he's warming up to President-elect Trump. He actually went to Mar-a-Lago sometime this week. So Fetterman, you can see right here, Fetterman later became the first U.S. Senate Democrat to meet with Trump since November 5th. Can you imagine? He's the first senator to meet with Trump. fact, Fetterman has warmed up to Trump so much that that his Democratic Party are quietly disavowing him. Yeah, since 2022. Anyway, so that's what's up with Fetterman. He's warming up to Trump, and his party is kind of like disavowing him because he's going, what they say is off the ranch. He's speaking his own mind, not necessarily the mind of the Democratic Party policy positions that he may disagree with. There's an Italian village, Sardinia, offers Americans a fresh start. They give you $1 homes, plus a new life beyond the political chaos. In the rugged mountains of Sardinia, a tiny village is extending an extraordinary lifeline to Americans seeking an escape from the political turbulence surrounding them. That is the village of Sardinia, up and down the Sardinia mountains. You can get yourself a new home if you relocate to this Sardinia village. Seems like there were some locations in Spain doing the same thing. I know, let's see, Panama. Yeah, I hired a lender whose family, he and his family were from Panama. Nice, his name was Hallie, and he came from Panama. And he told me, he said the government has a program to accept American citizens. You come down to Panama with your passport, and we'll stamp it a permanent visa in Panama if you agree to have your monthly Social Security check deposited into a Panama bank. So that way we know you have a source of income to sustain yourself in Panama. And he said you can get some nice places. You can rent places that are relatively inexpensive and nice, safe cities or villages in Panama. Where you're safe and your possessions are safe and you're not going to get robbed or anything like that, of your prized possessions. So what you have to do is set up an automatic deposit. I have an automatic deposit right now, and it's in a national bank, a branch located down here in South Florida. It's called Truist Bank now. Anyway, That's when my Maryland's and my Social Security checks are deposited automatically via wire transfer into Truist Bank. If you change it to a Panamanian bank, which, they're not under any currency disturbances or whatever. I mean, they have their own currency, and there's an exchange rate between the U.S. dollar and the Panamanian currency. So you can go out and buy things, get a debit card on that bank account. Banking around most of the planet is very similar to the banking that we realize, in the United States, stateside. So if you go to, you walk into a nice big bank in Panama, you open up an account with some US dollars, and then you get an account number and a routing and transit number, and you just go to your you log into your Social Security account and put in the new account information. And then that makes it possible for you to travel back and forth to Panama with a sustained permanent visa. And they stamp your passport accordingly. So you can travel between the two countries freely. Otherwise, you get a visa from a country and it has an expiration date. So if you get a 30-day visa, sometime within the 30 days, you got to get your butt back out of that country, or else you've overextended your stay with a visa, and that country can lock you up because you overextended your visa as a penalty, and you may be in jail for a month or something. So, your passport has a visa, a place, where visas can be stamped. And I know that Panamanian rule was in place a few years ago. I would have to check with the State Department to see if that is still in effect in Panama. And, inquire other countries that may extend the same kind of privileges, like in Spain or in Italy, for example. Some of these countries are looking for U.S. citizens to relocate for their retirement years. It keeps their economy going. You go out to dinner more often as a senior citizen than you would as a 20-year-old. A senior citizen, might eat out 2 or 3 times a week. So that helps their society and keeps their restaurants cooking as they bring in retirees from the United States that decide to move to Spain or Italy or permanently or semi-permanently. I think Australia has a similar, New Zealand has a similar arrangement, but you have to open up an account in the country and have your source of income automatically deposited into the bank in that country to receive that kind of a visa. All countries don't have that privilege, but a few do. All right, on your screen, left, you can see the Apple release, the beta 18.3. It's the third beta version we've received in iOS 18. It's called 18.3. And apparently there's some, this tells you a brief so you have, if you're a beta tester, it provides you with an early look at the latest improvements, bug fixes, and performance optimizations. This update focuses on enhancing the user experiences, introducing refined notifications, health monitoring features, and system tweaks. These changes lay the groundwork for the upcoming release candidate and the final version, which would roll out in a few months, usually in September. You would see beta, not beta, but you would see iOS 19, which would accompany the new iPhone, iPhone 17. We're on an AT&T plan where every year we turn in our phones and get the new up-to-date model. Depending on what kind of improvements are in iPhone 17, whether we're going to update to it or not remains an open question. But there hasn't been an awful lot of rumors out there yet as to what's going on with the iPhone 17. We can iPhone 17 rumors. And they had the space. There we go. Let's press that button. I mean, I'm literally Googling it. Motorcycle, we gotta check these squares. There we go. Everybody's testing it because they don't want robo-sites to be screwing around with, the Google search. iPhone 17, everything we know. Okay. This is Mac Rumors. Let's touch that. There we go. All the rumors about Apple's 2025 iPhone 17. So there's, it looks like the island in the top of the phone is smaller. So here, at a glance, it'd be a larger display size. Wi-Fi 7, new display sizes, new ultra thin model, the Apple design modem chip, the iPhone 17, the Pro models will now be made out of, machined out of aluminum instead of titanium. Lighten the weight a bit. promotion for all models. Upgraded selfie camera. So the selfie camera would have more megapixels. We're expecting 4 models in 2025. And, like the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I have the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So in September or October, or whenever we decide, I'm probably gonna, instead of dialing in to get the phone the very first day it's expected to be released, I may wait to hear some reviews, from trusted sources. But this is an early stage in the whole rumor mill business. So it looks like the iPhone 17 Pro Max will continue to have the 16.9 inch display size. Apparently the thin model, the slimmer version of iPhone 17 Pro Max, will be more expensive. Anyway, there may be some differences in that super slim model with regard to the camera. So as you get further into this year, usually 2 or 3 months, September, let's see, June, May, June, July, those are the months, this is January, so it's a little early. Apple ain't talking. These are rumors from people that have friends that work at Apple. It's not the Apple people themselves. You sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, when you become an employee of Apple, which means thou shalt not tell anybody outside the company about anything that you do or any of our products that have not been officially released yet. You are sworn to secrecy. iPhone 17 Pro Max will likely have an upgraded 48 megapixel telephoto camera, which would be an improvement over the current 12 megapixel sensor for the telephoto camera. At least one model will be getting the Apple-designed Wi-Fi 7 chip rather than the standard chip manufactured by Broadcom. Broadcom. B-R-O-A-D com. Broadcom. They make the Wi-Fi chip. Well, apparently Apple has presumably a better delivery system than the Broadcom chip. So we'll see. iPhone Air will likely be the thin one. A thin high. Let's see. Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, K-O, he's making remarks that he doesn't think that if they come up with an iPhone 17 Air, which is a thinner model, he doesn't think it'll be more expensive than the Pro Max. Even though it's super thin, has only one camera. According to Bloomberg, Mark Gorman says the iPhone 17 Air will be 2 millimeters thinner than the current model, the iPhone 16 Pro. iPhone 16 Pro is 8.25 millimeters thick. That would make the iPhone 17 Air about 6 millimeters thick, and that would be the thinnest iPhone made to date. Most of the thickness of the current iPhones, is due to the battery. How flat can a battery be and provide enough energy so you get an all-day usage out of the phone. And to accommodate camera lenses and camera prisms. Analyst Jeff Pugh has also suggested that the new iPhone 17 will be about 6 millimeters thick. Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo. He's one of the most reliable rumor deliverers. So he's connected better than most people when it comes to what Apple has up its sleeve. And all these design decisions have already been made. To manufacture millions of devices, the machining of the phone casing, when you gotta get 15 million of them up the first day, these decisions have, in my opinion, have probably already been made. I think it's pencils down engineering at this point. Pencils down meaning you can't change the blueprints. The plan is set. Now, Ming-Chi Kuo, as I said, the most reliable analyst of all of them, in my opinion, he says the iPhone 17 Air will be about 5.5 millimeters thin at its thinnest points. So it'll be, a little thicker where the cameras pop out a little bit. Probably won't have all the cameras. And the iPhone Air will probably only have one camera. It covers, wide angle to medium telephoto. We don't know. It's all high speculation at this point. Look at this. They may be relocating the cameras to all along the top instead of having it in the top corner. The 3 cameras are gonna be spread out along the back like that. It's probably easier to deal with, the cameras and the prisms and the telephoto, particularly with the telephoto camera, which might be the one in the middle. Who knows? It'll have an aluminum frame. And the back will be half aluminum and half glass. Partial aluminum back would make the iPhone 17 Pro models a little more durable when it comes to if you drop the phone. Two 2-nanometer thickness chips. God. I mean, not long ago, it was 12 nanometers. This is millionths of a meter. So it is really thin. You know, the chips. Thinner than a human hair. It seems like every year, or every other year, the phones, you know, have faster and more efficient chip technology. A19 chip, you're going to call it an A19. Yeah. iPhone 17 may include 17 gigabytes of active RAM, up from 8 That's a 4 gigabyte increase. So the 12 gigabyte of RAM will be limited to the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Yep. Have 5G modems. No SIM tray. You have electronic SIMs. Apple designed Bluetooth and Wi-Fi 7 chip. Replace the components from Broadcom. Yeah. Battery. The batteries will be easier to remove, so that if you keep the phone for 3 or 4 years, you can change out the battery, because the lithium-ion chemistry starts to fall apart after about 3.5, 4 years. And you'll notice that because, if you charge the phone to 100%, you'll notice that it discharges much faster. So instead of getting all-day use out of the battery, you get half-day use out of the battery. And it falls off pretty fast. So, 1 week the battery is working properly, and the next week you're only getting a half day worth of energy out of the battery. So when that happens, it's time to replace the battery. So if I were, we haven't kept the phones that long. The selfie camera will be upgraded to 24 megapixel front-facing camera with 6-element lens. Right now it's a 12 megapixel selfie camera. The higher number of pixels in the imager of the camera, determines. More megapixels means more detail. And the iPhone 17 Pro Max is expected to have a 48 megapixel wide angle camera, 48 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a 48 megapixel tetraprism telephoto camera. So it'll be the first iPhone to have 3 48 megapixel cameras built into it. So I guess it's worth the upgrade, to have much better, because taking pictures with the iPhone is a unbelievable feature. You can take pictures of the moon, the full moon. You can see the craters and all that. It's unbelievable. 5X telephoto zoom. Yeah, that's where we are right now. Pricing will probably be the same. You just, you're getting more memory. Anyway, so that's the iPhone 17. That's the current rumors. Wayne, go to the pictures. We're at iOS 18.3, and between now and September, it'll probably have 2 more beta versions. They'll come out once a month. It's January. So, next month there'll be, beta 18.4, and it'll step up to 18.5, 6, or 7, and then it'll jump to iPhone, 19, beta 1, in June, just before the September release. They'll get a month or so for the beta testers to, use the operating system and see if there are any flaws on it. They give you, when you download the beta version, there's a unique purple icon that's there, which you can open up and report directly to the engineering team what problem you're having with the operating system. And that's how so you got 2 billion users of iOS devices, including phones and iPads and watches. So it's iOS 18.3 or iOS beta 18.3. We are beta testers. The software is only available to those a limited number of people, but it's still a big quantity. There's 1 million or so beta testers out there all over the planet that are putting the operating system through its,
It's 11:45.
through its chores. All right, I gotta go. I have a FedEx guy that's gonna show up pretty soon to pick up a package. So I wish you have a great day.